Welcome to another episode of Hair Biz Radio with your host Zakiyrah and
Mikey.
and we are Bizak. We both kind of been traveling all over the place. Now we're back. We got to get some episodes done. So we here.
Yeah. Where were you? You were just in DC?
Yeah, I went to DC. Before that, I was in San Fran. And I went somewhere else. I can't remember where. But I'll be in New York tomorrow.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and then I come back.
Where are you staying in New York? What area?
Not far from Barclays Center.
Okay.
Somewhere in Brooklyn or yeah.
Brooklyn's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we went to Angela took me to somewhere in the Dodo district, whatever it is, right by the water.
Oh.
And they have she has some like special club.
By the water? Is that like up towards Hoboken or is it in Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And it's called Dumbo. No, it's the Dumbo area.
Dumbo area.
And it's like the Dumbo Social Club or something like that. And she's like, there's no sign.
Sounds top tier.
Yeah, you go in like this door and then you're like, okay, this is looking really good. And she's like, hey, make sure you don't take any photos or anything because you can get kicked out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she's like, Jay-Z and Beyonce actually come here a lot. Super private.
Okay.
Like, and
You have to have membership to get in
there?
there?
Yeah. She probably got one for being on the Breakfast Club.
Oh,
I don't know. I didn't want to ask. So, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I figured, but it was pretty cool. So Brooklyn's nice. Like it's getting expensive over there.
Oh, yeah. I have family up there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was in Paris eating a bunch of chocolate croissants, and that flight was free. That hotel was free.
We talked about that. Yeah.
I mean, you guys got to listen. If you're like, wait a second, did Mikey really go to Paris for free? Like, I had to pay for stuff while I was there.
Right.
But my flight, and I'm not just talking regular flight. We had the Delta One suites.
I was about to say, did you?
Yeah, Delta One.
Wait a second. So you got Delta One for 50,000 miles?
Well, no. Okay. So this is what I did. Because I told Zakiyrah before this how I was talking about, how this all works. So 50,000 sky miles for the round trip flight. Mm-hmm. Then I cashed in 2 of my Delta upgrade certificates.
Okay. Got it.
And those worked. And then I was like, okay, sweet. We are fully round trip. We stayed in this hotel in I think it's the third, it's like a Renaissance or whatever, the third, district. And we stayed at the Renaissance Hotel there. It was awesome.
How long were you guys there?
We were there for 10 nights.
Oh, wow. That's a good trip.
Yeah, good trip. We usually like to stay 10 nights. We like to go one place and stay 10 nights.
Yeah.
We're not about that like, hey, let's fly here, stay here 2 nights, then go over here, stay 2 nights. Honestly, I think people do it for social media. People are like, oh, I was just in Paris and I was in Italy. I was in Rome. I was here. And I was like, well, I'm thinking, oh my God, they must have been gone for months. And I'm like, how long were you gone? They're like a week. And I'm like, did you see anything? And then they're like, I didn't like such and such city. And I'm like, what did you see? You went to 2 tourist spots.
Yeah.
So we have changed kind of like we've always kind of been designing our life and trying to make sure we kind of do things how we want to do it. And that's one of the new lifestyle designs I've been working on over the last couple of years of like, let's go somewhere. Let's really enjoy it. Yeah. Let's just walk around. Let's meet people. And it's a game changer. And honestly, those are the times when I get like the most creative is when I get that mental break from being in the day-to-day office. Now, I love the day-to-day office, but I don't get as creative. I don't come up with these ideas.
Because there's so much going on.
It's so much going on. It's like every second,
Yeah.
So
wait, so were you working in Paris?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I took like maybe 1 or 2 days off out of that time. But, I hop on the laptop. I wasn't working as much as if I was here. But that's kind of the plan because it's one of those things where if I'm just working all the time, like my creativity just starts going down. We got some cool projects that we're working on right now. So I want to make sure that my creativity is really high.
Yeah.
So we can come up with like amazing ideas and everything else and really take everything to the next level because, we have more and more clients and we want to create more products and services that are going to be beneficial for those clients. And I have to figure out what the heck these are.
Yeah.
And if it's possible. You know, so it is, and we're making it work. And I think 2022 is going to be a big year.
Oh, 2022 is going to be baller.
Yeah, it's going to be big. So, you know, going into 2022, I think it would be a good idea if we talk about, because we have a lot of experience with this and dealing with thousands of people, mistakes that new entrepreneurs in the hair industry make.
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is going to be starting the business just because it looks good. Like, the first mistake you can make is wanting to start a business because you just want to be an entrepreneur, or because you see a lot of people starting hair businesses. Because the problem with that is if you don't have enough motivation, or if you don't have a big enough why for why you're doing it, when it gets hard, you're just going to quit. Like, that first 3 to 6 months where you're not making any sales, you're just going to be like, oh, this isn't working, I'm done with it, because the why behind it isn't strong enough. So I always tell people, if you're going to start a business, make sure that you have a passion for it, one, and then two, a reason for why you're doing it.
I agree 1,000% on that.
Yeah.
You know, I was just on this podcast interview, Into the Light, I think it was called. It's pretty
Mikey
cool.
the celeb.
I got about an interview a week now. And I was talking to her about, not just because I was just talking about, you know, our experience with entrepreneurs, but also, especially in our industry, is what happens is people in the hair industry get so excited about a hair business that they can sell hair, because we do make it almost too easy for people, right?
Yeah.
It's almost too easy. And the biggest problem is people come so hot out of the gate.
Yeah.
Like, they are, I don't know what's that guy, that sprinter in Jamaica, from Jamaican sprinter guy?
Oh,
what's his name? Usain Bolt.
Oh, okay,
Look at Dowie coming in with the knowledge. Dowie, the producer. So they come out like Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
And then just for like 1 week, and then it fizzles.
Dies down, yeah.
It dies down. What they need to do is realize that they need to be the greatest marathon runner of all time.
Definitely.
Because business is something that's going to take a long time to be successful. You know, and don't let social media fool you of like, oh, I made $50,000 today, you know, and I just started my business yesterday.
Right.
Like, very rare does this happen.
And a lot of times when that does happen, it's because either one, they have the presence or the following, or they're on TV or something like that, or they've previously have done things that people have already bought into, and now they're doing something else.
Yeah, you got to think those people have spent, it could be a decade being on TV.
Yeah.
So they've been consistent at something to build up their presence and following.
Definitely.
So if they do something like that, they've already put in the time, where a lot of people that we work with are just starting out in everything.
Yeah.
And maybe they have a decent social media following, but it's not millions and millions of followers that are used to buying from them. Right? So if you think that even though you have 50,000 followers on Instagram, now it could happen that you just start this hair brand and everyone's going to buy from you. It's going to take a lot more work than that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I think another thing is making sure you strategize, like, before you start the business, like literally coming up with a plan. I'm not saying you need to do a full-thrown 100-page business plan, but being able to strategize and know what it is you want to do with your business. What do you want to sell? How do you want to sell? The marketing strategy, because a lot of times people get frustrated with once they get in the business, they're like, oh, well, this isn't working, or I don't know what to do here, but you didn't strategize or plan beforehand.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that kind of segues into not having a monthly budget.
That's a good one. Yeah.
You really need to have a budget. And honestly, you don't want to say like, oh, I have enough to start it this month. I can get my website up, do all this, and I have like a little bit of money for marketing, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like, you might not be ready to get into the hair business yet. You know, you maybe have rushed it. You haven't set up the plan and everything else, but have a monthly budget for 6 to 12 months, at least to cover your website fees, some of the basic fees, so your email marketing fees, the branding, some of this kind of stuff. You might not necessarily need all this money up front to spend tons on Facebook and Instagram ads and TikTok ads and all that kind of stuff. Because what you can do is put in your time to say, write down blog posts. Maybe you're creating videos. Maybe you're a hairstylist and you're making videos with your clients on how to install hair, and you start building up the YouTube following, which is linking over to your website and all that. But if you don't have the money to at least cover that portion of time for your monthly fees of stuff that you just have to have, it would suck to go through and get a couple months of this going and you're starting to get a little thing going, but you don't really have the sales yet, but you're getting the awareness, because generally awareness is going to come before sales, right? People just don't see a website and it's like, oh, this sells hair. Well, yeah, there's a million websites that sell hair.
Yeah.
Why are people buying from you? It's because you built that awareness.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Another thing I would say is not looking at what other people are doing. Like, I think that's a big mistake that people in business make is, I'll give you an example. So I had a product on my Calm Her line that I released maybe a couple years ago. And I had a friend who we released products at the exact same time. Okay. But she has a huge following. She's done,
I think I remember
TV
this
stuff, like everything. Yeah. And we released the products at the same time. Hers sold out and mine didn't. And I was like, dang, like I've been marketing. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. And then I got down on myself. But in reality, like, it's not the same. Like, we're two different people. I wanted to start this business for a different reason. And if I'm going to stick with it, then I have to tap into different avenues. It's just different. You can't compare two different hair companies to, the one that you're creating.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And, that's interesting, because another mistake people would be making is not reading Fearless Beauty, the hair business blueprint. Now, that's definitely a plug. Actually, we were filming with Bravo yesterday, and we
threw that in there, filming with Bravo.
Well, it is true. And we were filming with Bravo yesterday, and we were going around like showing the store because we were training somebody on Bravo, like part of the show. And the producer runs out, wait a minute, whose the book is that? Like, we can't show that on you. We can't record that, because they're so particular about recording stuff.
Brands.
And she's like, who's the author? And I raised my hand. I am. And she's like, oh, Mikey, that too? And I'm like, yes, ma'am.
So were they able to keep it on there?
Yeah. I just signed a release. I just signed like a release, Fearless Beauty,
perfect.
Author, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about the book, there's a sale going on right now.
If you can catch it.
If you catch the sale.
Okay, so you can, let me tell you, it depends on when you listen to this and how long I keep it going.
True.
If you go to privatelabelextensions.com, search Fearless Beauty, one book will show up, and you use the coupon code FEARLESS. How about this? I'll keep it going. It might not be as much off as it is today, which is ridiculous amount off. It's literally almost free. Okay, so I don't want to say what that is. So you're going to have to go to privatelabelextensions.com, search Fearless Beauty, use coupon code FEARLESS, and then you can get an amazing deal on this. But this is really the blueprint for success in the hair industry.
Yeah.
Like 100%, blueprint for success. I'm going to leave it right here. If you're on YouTube, you're going to be able to see it right next to my Hair Biz Radio mug. But definitely so much. I mean, Zakiyrah, obviously you're a big part of this book as well, in the journeys that we've been through over the last 7-8 years in the hair industry.
Yeah.
And think about all we've been through.
A lot.
Like, we say a lot, but people don't even know how much a lot is.
Right.
Like, you can't even put it in words. Well, I kind of
did. Yeah, I was just about to say.
But that's a lot. This is a lot of words relative to just a lot.
Yeah.
So much was put into this book to help out entrepreneurs, right? And like, the reason why I'm doing a big discount right now on the book is we've hit 200 reviews on Amazon. 200 reviews is actually really hard. You know that, right? Like 200 reviews, unless you're like some huge celebrity, and the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of not really out there as much. So it was a lot of work to get those 200 reviews. But 200 reviews on Amazon. And, really the purpose of this book was not to make money from selling books. It was to help people, help entrepreneurs, and help get the word out about the hair industry or just beauty in general, right?
And the book, even if you're not in the hair industry, there's a lot of principles in the book that you could take away.
For sure. Yeah. So, it was one of these kind of books that I think it's going to help a lot of people. And if you're listening to this, you'd be literally crazy if you think you're going to be in the hair industry and not read this book. Like,
definitely,
you can spend a lot of money on courses, this, that, the other, but this is probably the best investment you can make for almost nothing.
Definitely. I think another thing that people don't realize is the power of like email lists. So a lot of people start off their businesses. I've done a ton of hair business consultations where people are like, oh no, I don't have an email list. And I'm like, That's the first issue. Like, how do you not have an email list? So before you even start your business, you need to be looking into email platforms. There's MailChimp, there's Klaviyo, there's ActiveCampaign, there's so many other ones that you can use. But you need to create your email list before you even start your hair business. Start giving out some freebies. It doesn't have to be anything humongous, but it can be a checklist. It can be 5 ways to wash your hair extensions. Something so small that you want to start giving people for free so that you can get them on your email list. That way, when you do launch, you have people who you're marketing to already.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
It's really about building lists in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like
yeah.
social media followers is technically a list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for us, people that subscribe, you guys that are listening to this, make sure you're subscribing. But subscribers to the podcast is technically a list for us.
Yeah, they're all assets. Like,
it's all assets.
Yeah, have
right?
a list of assets that you're going to use for your business.
Yeah, it's crucial. So, thinking about those lists and all of that, I really like to think about, when starting a business, we are very frugal when we start a new project because it's easy to throw money at stuff, but throwing money at stuff doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work right away.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot to do with timing. So you can get some expensive program for your website.
Yeah.
But it could be way too early. You don't have the data or other kind of stuff, the traffic for this to really work. So what I like to tell people to do is use all the free resources, free everything as much as possible.
Yeah.
First, utilize that as much as possible before you start paying for all these extra product services and other kind of things.
Yeah.
Right? Because generally, once you've exhausted all the free options, I'm not saying get a free website builder. Like use Shopify, but try to get on the trial. And then, Klaviyo, you can use up to X amount of subscribers for free.
I think it's like 500.
Yeah, probably like 500.
Yeah.
Spend time writing blog posts and all this kind of stuff, like building up your brand before spending all this money on, writers or like, oh, I need a social media manager.
Right.
Like, no, you're going to have to do a lot of that stuff, yourself.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I say free, but it's going to be more of your time.
Yeah.
But it is important because it's important to know what you are going to hand over to your first employee.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, adding on to that or something in addition to that would be making sure your paperwork is set up front. Like if this is something that you're going to invest in, something you really want to do, making sure that you file for your LLC or your S corp, whatever you decide to do. I would recommend talking to an attorney or accountant to get that settled, but you want to make sure you do that. And then also, if there's a need to trademark, you need to get a trademark as well. I think I talked about my trademark story on the last episode.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely I would recommend making sure you talk to an attorney, get that all done before you even launch. That way, when you do launch, everything is set.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The, having the paperwork all together is just going to make it so much easier at the end of the year. Having an accountant and if accountant's going to probably do your taxes, because once you have a business, it's going to get more complicated and they're going to maybe be able to find more things you can write off. But handing something organized is going to save you a lot of money too, because if you just hand them a mess of stuff, they're going to be like, yeah, I can fix this, but I also charge a couple $100 an hour. And like, if you just did it from the start and it's every day that goes by that you don't have this organized, it becomes more and more difficult.
Yeah. A good one to start off using, and they don't sponsor us, but QuickBooks is really good.
QuickBooks does not sponsor. Nobody sponsors us. Me and you sponsor us.
Right. But they're really good though. Like to start off, they have like a basic plan that you can do and it just helps you organize your transactions and everything. But you want to make sure that all that is done up front. No commingling funds. So getting your bank account once you get your LLC or whatever you decide to file for it, get your bank account, your business bank account, and make sure all of your business transactions are going through your business bank account.
Then the next one I would say the mistakes people make is they learn from the wrong people.
That is a huge one.
Right? Like I've seen this time and time again where they're just like, oh, I'm like taking this course from so-and-so that, and I know they're taking this course because this person has like a huge following on Instagram or something like that. But then if you like really research that person, they've never even had like a real business, like a product.
And then one thing that I hate is they'll put out these courses and all of the information in there is stuff that you could literally just Google.
Yeah, there's nothing that is
like, wow, I didn't know this, I needed to buy this course.
Or at least like a use case that will allow you to kind of have a better understanding, or something they've personally done, or can show some stuff instead of just kind of mixing a bunch of random stuff together. It becomes problematic.
Oh, definitely. Another thing I would say is making sure consistency. We talk about this all the time.
Right.
Yeah, consistency. Making sure that when you go into it, you're just consistent. Like I know Mikey just mentioned not worrying about having to hire all of these people. You're going to have to do work. So making sure that you don't set the bar so high that you can't accomplish the things that you're wanting to accomplish. So like we talked about, having that list, building out strategy, what that looks like, but making sure you're staying consistent with your content, with your emails, with your marketing, with everything that you have going on. Consistency.
Okay. And I'm going to do my last one. There's many more. I could literally go on forever, but we're trying to keep this episode around 30 minutes. My last one, what was my last one? I was just thinking about it. I
had a brain fart too.
And I was just thinking about it. I was like, organization. We talked about like accounting and bookkeeping, but organization as far as what you need to accomplish, because as an entrepreneur, you are your own boss.
Yeah.
Right. And not everybody is really ready for that. And even if you are ready for that, you have to start figuring out how to maximize all your time. So what I think is so important is use a calendar. So you can use Google Calendar, or if you're on iOS, Apple, you can use Apple Calendar, completely free. Okay, that's step one. Keep all your appointments and everything else organized in there. And next is have a to-do list. I've talked about it on the episodes before. Like Todoist is my favorite to-do list.
Oh yeah, I use that sometimes.
Like just load it up. Even if it's something small, add it to your to-do list.
Yeah.
And you get a satisfaction every time you check something off.
I know I do. Like one thing, I'll show it on the screen here, but I downloaded an app called Sticky Notes. And so it shows like on the front of your phone.
That is nice.
And then you can just click it and it'll mark off everything you have, because I realized like anxiety comes with thinking about all the things that you have to do. And so I'm like, let me just put it on my front screen, because I'm gonna look at my phone. Like we all look at our phones so much. And so now it's a constant reminder, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this. And it's not something that I have to keep in my mind. And
that'll probably help keep you on task.
Definitely.
Because you might hit that sticky note opposed to that damn TikTok.
Yeah.
And, that will make a big difference.
Definitely. As we're talking, I just got an idea for our next podcast topic. So
so you're going to have to listen to this, and then a week later, the next one's going to come out.
Yeah.
We're really trying to, usually, just so you guys know how we do it, we usually record 2 at once, and then we can start bankrolling them so we can be more consistent with the podcast. Because, when I was looking at the and I know you know this, but for our listeners, we were going through, and I was working to get booked on more podcasts. And I was going through and talking to a few different agents that work on it, ended up using a publicist that handles kind of everything for me personally now. And he's like, oh, what's your podcast? And he was like looking it up, and there's this program that kind of ranks everything. And Hair Biz Radio, thank you very much, listeners, was in the top 1% of listened podcasts.
Yeah.
Which I was like, holy cow. So, for us, we need to stay super consistent. We're trying to keep it like ad-free. On our program, we use Anchor, and we can technically add ads to our podcast. But for now, I think you guys would appreciate it being ad-free. You might even want it, because it's ad-free, you might even want to leave us a review, which would be greatly appreciated. All you got to do is go to your podcast app, hit 5 stars, maybe 4 stars, whatever. We have a 1 star.
Or 5.
We have a 2-star review or something. I don't know. They didn't like me. They probably didn't like you. I mean, they like me. They like, or maybe they heard Dawi in the background. They were like, who's that producer guy always trying to put his word in, knowing everything. So yeah, who knows? Yeah.
So just make sure you guys comment, like, subscribe, YouTube, everywhere. Really, we're everywhere on podcasts.
Yeah, Hair Biz Radio.
Check out, we have so many episodes. So if you have not listened to every single episode, go back and listen to all the episodes. Literally, you can take probably one thing from each episode. Definitely more, but at least one thing. So make sure you guys do that. Like Mikey said, comment, give us some feedback, share with us any topics you guys want to hear from that we can discuss on upcoming podcasts. And we will be back soon.
All right, guys. Bye.